Is it better to have more positive thinking and positive attitude or to have less negative thoughts, less negative? This question was posed to me from a video that one of my mastermind group members sent me and it was a guy named Price Pritchett, I think is how you say his name, that was asking the question. And one that I think would be really, really good for you to think about and contemplate. I'm going to tell you what he said, but man, what would be your gut reaction? Because in all of my classes, here's what usually comes out is like, man, I'm going to have try to have a more positive attitude. I'm going to try to have a more positive attitude. And that's good. That's good. It's not bad. However, in this interview, this was the summary of it. You're much better off to get rid of negative thinking than you are to work on positive thoughts or a positive attitude. Whoa. I didn't realize for years you've never heard me say think more positively. Just be positive. Have a positive attitude. Now, you've heard me say, how can I have a great vision? All kinds of things to really, help us to focus forward, to work towards what we want, but not just be more positive. Because I also knew there's a little more to being positive. If you're positive and you have poor character, you're going to have a negative outcome, okay? So I know there's so much more, but I hadn't thought about what this guy said. He goes, trying to have more positive thinking is like having muddy water and pouring clear water in the muddy water. You're never going to get it clear. There's always going to be cloudiness. And I've seen it over and over in the applications of the ones that wanted to have a more positive attitude. Because they'll come back in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks and yeah, it worked for a day, or then Monday came, or then Tuesday, or those people did this, or this happened, or I can't control this, all of those things that come at us every day. Well, I want to take this a little bit farther. Now, this video could be 2 hours long because of how much I've been contemplating and thinking about this really for 20 to 30 years in my growth journey, spiritually, relationally, emotionally, leadership ability. It affects all of it. So this is what brought it home. I'm also working on reading through another book called Living Fearless. It talks about our identity messages. And it's made me think about another course that I've taken called The Abiding Life that was about our identity messages. So follow me on this. I'm thinking less negative thinking will give us much better results than trying to be positive. And this is why I think that is so. Most of our thinking, our attitude, it's not conscious. It's a subconscious thought. We don't even know we're walking around in it. As a matter of fact, I've heard until the yogurt hits the fan in your marriage and when your leadership and all of these things is that's when you truly find out what's deep inside of you, right? When you squeeze it, what comes out. So I really stay with me here. I know I'm really trying to get this concept down. Where do the negative thoughts come from? How do we get rid of them? Man, usually they've come from the identity messages that we've been given. And unfortunately, I'm going to throw a little of my faith in. Very few of us had Jesus as our father, right? Or a perfect mother or father, if you will. And man, they just give us messages not intended usually to hurt, but some they didn't even know what they were doing to you. And so we walk around with these identity messages that produce negative thinking and trying to get rid of the positive or just trying to be positive on top of that negative identity message just doesn't work. The analogy that I loved out of this book was if I told you to go kill all the rats that are going towards this rat pile, and let's imagine New York City rats, just going through or getting to the trash pile, and you try to kill all the rats, you can kill them all day. But what's going to come back? The rats. What you have to do is get rid of the trash pile. What's the trash pile internally for us? These identity messages. I see it come out all the time in leadership. I want to give you some examples. I put some up here for me to look at while I'm sharing with you because, man, think about this. If you were criticized constantly growing up, you'd think, I'm never enough. So you're going to try to overperform. Workaholism, defensiveness. If you're ignored emotionally, you're going to think your needs don't matter. That's your identity. So you'll be self sufficient and you'll avoid asking for help. If you were dismissed growing up, you think your voice doesn't matter. So you may be silenced and you might withdraw or explosive reactions. Think about these things. If you have a chaotic home, an alcoholic father or mother, right? Or I'm unsafe. Well, guess what? You'll start controlling. And as a leader, you're going to micromanage people. And you may not know why. Even though you know it's good not to, you may not know why you continue to do it. There's so many things. Betrayal, people leave. I have emotional distance. I'm going to guard against relationships. I'm not going to let people in. Man, many of those I can think, hey, raise my hand on lots of those, right? One of mine was abandonment, right? We had to be saved out of my home from my abusive father, and he was just gone one day. So identity message. Nobody like tried to program that in, but I saw me living it out. Okay, so I know I'm going really deep today around this idea of positive thinking versus negative thinking and what's better to have more positive thinking or to get rid of a negative thought. Much better to go after the trash pile. Much more effective. Your positive thinking then can stick. You've heard me talk about our attitude. Well, our attitude is everything about us. And a lot of times we're walking around with these messages and that we don't even know they're subconscious, but they come out when the yogurt hits the fan, when a little crazy comes out of you. Maybe it's not you, maybe you haven't seen it yet, but it usually comes out at some point. Man, what's driving that? And let's attack that so that we can lead whole and live fulfilled. That's my desire for you to enjoy life to its fullest, fulfilled in your leadership ability, with your team, in your company, in your career, in your marriage, with your kids. Every single part of your life is affected by this. Lead whole, live fulfilled. Bye for now.